appreciate that. We have a little podcast, the Two Bros podcast.
So am I on your podcast?
You know what I mean?
That's what I want to hear.
And we have a shirt for you too.
Oh, I love it. I'm happy to
We're gonna get Larry his shirt.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes, absolutely.
Your official Two Bros podcast.
Is that right?
Two Bros podcast.
What size you get me?
What's your name?
I'm a medium.
Medium.
I'm a medium.
Sorry?
Everyone speaks. I'm there. Curtis Sliwa is there. And look, if you're not from New York City, you may not know Curtis Sliwa. If you're from New York City, you know who Curtis Sliwa is. Right? Even if you don't like him, you know who he is.
I see him on the Angels.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Exactly right. So you know who that guy is. Joel Giambo was there, who was, again, if you're Dallas man, you know Joel Giambo. Upstate you do, he was an Erie County executive. Okay. So there were some people there who were real players, real people who knew stuff. Right? I was there. Howie Hawkins was there. Anyone who's a Green Party knows Howie Hawkins. I forgot what We're talking, there's 3 cameras from different, like ABC, NBC, ABC. The guys are sitting like this, cameras are down, smoking cigarettes, just waiting. We're talking, nobody cares. So then Nixon shows up. All the cameras go up. Boom. All watching her. Right? Now, she's done talking. She walks away. They pick up the cameras on the tripods, follow her into the crowd. We're talking.
Nobody cares.
At that point, I was like, why am I even down here?
Right.
Why am I down here?
It's amazing how we'll sort of like jump in with both feet.
Yep.
And not realize that, hey, wait a minute, this is kind of like, I mean, we restricted the dialogue.
Correct.
You know, I was on, my wife works for Hofstra University, and they had that debate.
Yep.
And when you listen to the debate, you say there's a huge gap in the middle that we're not addressing here.
At all.
And she had a couple of cute one-liners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, caught him in a double entendres and stuff. Okay, fine, that's nice. But then the whole notion that, wait a minute, you're talking on this end, you're talking on this end. What about all of this stuff here? And it happens. And I remember the debate you had right before the election, the one that was the one that Twitter actually published.
League of Women Voters?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
That one.
Yep.
And it just begged the question: why is nobody listening?
Yes. There were 3 debates. I was in 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 that I was in, I won. Neither of those were televised.
Wow.
The one that was televised was the one that CBS 880 did, which was only Molinaro and Cuomo, which that entire debate was, no, you're more corrupt. No,
Right,
you.
exactly.
No, you're more corrupt.
Yes.
No, you. No, you're more corrupt. That was the
Little
entire
finger
debate.
pointing game.
Yes.
It's
Not
like-
one answer, not nothing.
No
Nobody
resolve.
answered the
It
question.
feels like 2 nerds slapping each other.
That's what it was. Yes, exactly. It was slap fight, and that was televised.
Yeah.
But all that did was reinforce the idea of we're voting because we're afraid, not because we actually care about something. And what happens is if you keep people who are afraid make bad decisions. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Right? This is human nature.
Yeah.
You're afraid. The odds of making a bad decision just shut up.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking short term. You're thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Right? You do that.
Right.
Well, you're
They've
in
kept us
response
that.
mode. Like
Bingo.
you're in defense mode.
That's correct.
You're trying to just
which is constantly
hope you
short
don't fall
term.
off. Yeah.
Now, when that happens, when groups of people are afraid, they always cry for one of 2 things: socialism or strongman.
Right.
Constantly, they cry for one of those 2 things:
Okay. Right.
socialism or strongman.
Strongman,
Right.
yeah.
But what happens every time is they always end up dictatorship. The 2 different paths that end the same way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you
so
end up in the same.
that's correct. And what we have, the 2 people you see who are the poster children right now. Trump is the poster child for strongman, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the poster child for socialism.
Oh my God.
Right? They're the 2 poster children, right? Or Bernie.
Cut
Depends how
out
you
of
look
the-
at it.
Cut out of the cloth. So she just, it's amazing that and when she gets called out on it, she's, somebody's trying to suppress a woman's voice and
Yeah,
stuff. And
right.
it's
Righteousness
amazing.
works.
Yeah.
Righteousness works in
Oh,
our
absolutely.
society, which is terrible because to call out righteousness, you have to be willing to take the slings and arrows that come along with that,
Right.
and that's hard.
Yeah.
And that's hard, particularly if, hey, what's going on? How are you? Good seeing you. Hey, what's going on? Good seeing you. Have a seat, guys. Please.
Don't worry about
Anyway,
this.
we'll move on.
She'll move that over.
Yeah.
Don't worry. No, she'll move it over.
Yeah, the simple fact that she applauded the destruction of that Amazon deal.
I'm actually okay. I think she's right on that one.
It's
I'll tell you why. I am totally on board with getting rid of Amazon. Look,
Okay.
I'm going to be clear, and I just did a go live on this. I will give people credit where credit's due, even if they're wrong. They're right for the wrong reason. Right? I'm glad Trump is talking to Korea.
okay.
I think he's talking to Korea because he wants a Nobel Peace Prize. Fine, get a Nobel Peace Prize. I hope you fix Korea. Right? I don't care what your reason is. If you can fix Korea, home run. If you can talk to our enemies, I'm in. I support Trump completely on him talking to the Koreas. I hope he fixes Korea, then I hope he goes to Iran next. I hope he goes to Cuba after that. I hope he says, I want a peace prize, I'm going to fix the world. Please, President, do that amazing. Totally on board. When it comes to Ocasio-Cortez, when it came to Amazon, she was correct. And the reason why she's correct is this, and this people get mad at me all the time with this one. 25,000 jobs, right? Average 150K. Why do you believe that? I don't.
I don't believe
Well, I
that.
don't necessarily, no, I don't necessarily believe that, but
When has any company that's come to our state ever made its numbers?
No.
Never.
When has Amazon made their numbers?
Yes,
Go
but
look at the-
ever. They've never made the numbers. Why would I think they make them now? Why would I believe that? Why would I believe de Blasio?
Right.
Why would I believe Cuomo? When has any of Cuomo's schemes worked? Ever.
well, de Blasio spoke out of both sides of his face.
Correct.
Coming to it.
He just
So
surrendered.
He
just
he
surrendered.
brokered the deal, and then when it went down, he said, "Well, if they don't like it, they can just."
Yeah, he just-
But wait a minute, you
he
just
just-
organized this, so.
De Blasio doesn't care. My point is, when has Cuomo, anything else Cuomo's ever worked? Never.
Right.
So why would I trust that they would actually bring 24,000 jobs? Why would I trust that actually make the $20 billion they said they were going to make? Not just that. What if Amazon lies?
This was my bill
Or
from
is wrong?
before.
What happens if it's 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, insert time period,
Right.
and all they've given is 10,000 jobs?
Okay.
And out of those 10,000, 5,000 came from something else they brought in.
Okay.
Let's say that's what happened. What's their punishment? Nothing.
Good question. Right.
Zero.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
sorry.
Maybe. Probably
Didn't
not.
work. Didn't work.
So there's no reason to believe Amazon. There's no because there's no repercussions for failure. There's no reason to believe de Blasio. He has track record of nothing but failure.
Correct. I
No
agree with
reason
that.
to believe Cuomo. Track record of nothing but failure.
Correct.
Why would I believe the premise of any of that?
So then
not
what-
just, I'm not even done. I'm not even done. That's the first reason for being bad. But I'm still not done. Next. When you start doing that, right, you're going to bring Amazon in. The idea is, well, then other people will come in too that'll make it even better, right? When they start coming, how are you? Please. When other companies start coming in, what happens? Rents go up. Rents go up. The second rents go up,
Over in the corner.
let me tell you, two things is going to happen. They say, well, when rents go up, that means the local businesses will make money. They will not.
No, they would not.
The local businesses will
It'll just
go
be
under,
opposite. Right.
and not just that, all diners like this will go under also. What will come in? Franchises. Because franchises have the dollars, they'll be able to say, we're going to go into all these different places, let us
They're
make
done.
deals.
They can pay rent. They can pay rent.
They can do all those things, right? And not just that, they're mechanized, right? They have robots. They have kiosks. They have all the things required that they can survive in that environment. So all the family businesses would have gone out. Franchises would have come in.
Okay.
And here's the worst part of franchises. Local people. The franchises are never owned by a local guy.
Right.
The franchise people who want to sell franchises, they want to sell franchises to people who own other franchises.
Yeah.
That's the number one person who buys a franchise. Who already owns one. So now I own 4 franchises in upstate New York or in California. I'm going to buy franchises now in Astoria.
Right.
Local people, they don't get anything.
Right.
Nothing at all. Where was the goal to help out the public housing is right there.
Right.
When they asked, they said, Amazon, will you guarantee jobs in X, Y, and Z? Here's what Amazon said.
What job?
I love New York. That's what I said. They guaranteed nothing in any way, shape, or form. So I'm still not done. Now, I'm not. It's bad, but I'm still not done. Now all of a sudden we're gonna start bringing people in here, right? Well, then the rents will go up, so that'll be good, right? Here's the problem. Now, say you're gonna bring 1,000 people in Amazon. I'm making up as leaders. You're gonna bring in. Mm-hmm. When you bring them in, you're gonna ask them to move. You ask executives to move, right?
Right.
Do you make them pay their own way? Of course not. Amazon pays.
Right.
That's Amazon money. Now I'm a landlord. I'm gonna raise my rents as high as I possibly can. Why is Amazon money? Right? If you're the executive, you're not going to be fighting for that. You're like, how about $10,000 a month? Whatever, it's Amazon money. It's fine. Whatever. You're not paying for it.
Right. Just put it at the back of the bill. And
Whatever. Now all that goes up now.
Wow.
So all that goes. Not just that. How are you going to deal with the infrastructure there? Have you been to Long Island City?
Yes. It's jam.
The infrastructure is a disaster. They're already shutting down the Astoria Boulevard station for like 9 months.
Right.
Already doing it.
Right.
And know what their concern is?
Well, I've never liked that location anyway for that.
Their concern is elevators, not where the trains run on time. The concern is they're not fixing the actual signals to where the trains will come on time.
Right.
They make sure elevators are there.
Elevators.
That's the important. They're shutting the whole place down to put elevators in, not to make the signals work.
Right.
So you can't do that. Now they asked de Blasio. I'm still not done. They asked de Blasio when they said, "How are you going to get the money to fix the infrastructure for Amazon?" He said, "Well, we'll just tax businesses." He said this, his words, not mine. He said this.
De Blasio, right?
Yes. So de Blasio is happy to say that. He's not hiding that. So he says, when to tax local businesses, why wouldn't you just tax Amazon to $3 billion
Mm-hmm. And solve problem solve?
and problem solve?
And give the local people a relief.
Thank you.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
It is wrong morally, it is wrong physically, but the most important piece, it's wrong philosophically. Why in the world, if you have to give a company $3 billion to come to your state, how much does your state suck? And they still don't.
Well, yes.
And they still said no.
And they still said no.
Here's
Right.
$3 billion. No thanks.
Right.
You give me $3 billion, I'll move to the moon. I'll move to the moon for $3 billion. I'll do 2 years on the moon, happy, come back for $3 billion. Wouldn't think twice. I'm taking Richard with me.
So what are the parameters that we're going to use then if this state wants to attract big businesses? If we
You don't want to attract big. That's the problem. No, we want to support small business.
Yeah, small business.
That's correct.
Yep.
Many reasons why. The first reason why is if you attract small businesses tend to come from the local area.
Yeah.
If they come from the local area, they tend to care more.
Right.
Right? They tend to. It's not a 100% rule. They tend to care more. You'll have less environmental impact because the people live here, go to school here. Don't get me wrong. Doesn't mean some local people do bad stuff too.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
I got you.
as a percentage.
Okay.
Right? You have a local business that grows. It grows organically. What does that mean? It trains the local people to be managers. Why? Because they worked in the store. Right? Because they worked in the environment. It trains them to grow locally. Right? It helps out local colleges. It helps everything out locally. You bring in a big business, it crushes local. We've seen it happen 1,000 times. Big business comes in, they get bribes. The bribes make it so that the big business has a big advantage over small business. Small business collapses. Now the bribes go after a certain number of years. Big business leaves, ghost town.
Right.
Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. How about we stop doing that? Instead, support small business. You want to help people out? Do what Wyoming does, right, for farmers. Wyoming has a bill right now that if you're a local farmer, you are immune from all federal regulatory bodies if you sell only locally within Wyoming. We should follow that exact rule for all businesses in New York State. If you're a small business and you sell only in New York State, you should be immune from all federal regulatory bodies. So, and do it just not by applying, which is always the cronyism. You don't apply. You sign a sheet of paper. I assume you tell me the truth.
Right.
Let
Innocent
me
until
find
proven
out.
guilty.
That's correct. Innocent until proven guilty. I don't assume. I don't say, well, fill out these forms that my cronies will get. I say, sign a sheet of paper saying you're only going to sell in New York State. Done. You do that, any larger company is going to sell across state lines. They're probably going to have facilities in multiple states.
Right.
They are now subject to federal regulations. The local one is not.
So that means their website can't survive the local business because
Say again?
a lot of local businesses cannot survive.
Correct.
They engage in online sales.
That's correct, yes.
How do you get across?
Yeah, there's the issue. If it's an online business, that probably won't work, but if it's a diner, it'll help. That isn't the only answer. It's one answer for local business like this. If you're a diner, you're a vacuum cleaner store, you have a shot of surviving now, right? But right now, if you're a retail store, online's killing you.
Yeah.
Right? Online's killing you. Even this, online's probably killing you, right? Again, the concept is you don't have to apply. You simply sign saying it's okay. The assumption is you're innocent. So if this diner itself wants to do delivery online, I'm not going to do what the federal government does right now, which assumes that if it's online, it is by default not local. I'm not going to make that assumption.
What if they separate the amount of business they do online versus local?
I love that. Totally. I love it. Make that is. Sure. Make two separate entities. Right? Two holding companies. One holding company, two entities. I love it. One's the online property.
So you incorporate the business
Why not?
under two names.
Why not? I love the idea.
I mean, the big boys do that anyway.
All the time.
They do that all the time.
100%. Why not?
They take
There's
the local
tons of ways
part
to make
of
that
it.
happen. The point is, even if that idea isn't perfect, if I start shifting people into that mindset, there'll be better things. Someone's going to say, Larry, that's good, but how about this? And I'm going to say, that's a good idea too, let's do that. Yeah.
Right.
But the point is, I don't want us focusing on big business because no one does that because no one focuses on little business. The idea is to make everybody big or bring big business in. The idea is the quick hit.
Yeah.
Quick hit, quick hit. I want to grow New York State to where people want to be here. Right? And I can't do that by going quick hit, quick hit, quick hit.
Yeah.
I've got to start building an environment where people say, this is where I want to grow my family, this is where I want to grow my business, this is where I want to grow my career, this is where I want to raise my kids, this is where I want to retire. You try to find someone who retires in New York City.
Florida.
That's correct. Yes. Who doesn't have an elderly parent.
Right.
You have an elderly parent, you often stay. It's a common thing in New York State. You find a lot of people who are here retire and stay here, they have an elderly parent. The elderly parent passes, or both of them pass, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone. Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, they're gone. Right?
Well, you always hear the proverbial bang for your buck, right?
Yes.
I can go someplace and get more for my money.
Absolutely.
All my friends moved to Atlanta,
Yep.
Charlotte, and
I was on my way to Charlotte.
and they're in the same place that we are now.
Yes.
The housing bust happened there. Every one of those communities crushed.
Yep.
The bubble bust, and they're all in the same spot. You know.
There's an
soda's
position that no
still
one talks about here,
$2 there.
which is there's been no real recovery outside of the city since 2008. Since 2008, there's been no real recovery from that crash, except in the cities.
Right.
You leave the cities, it's still ghost town.
Yeah.
Still ghost town everywhere.
There's
Right?
for sale signs everywhere. I mean,
Everywhere.
everywhere
Yes.
you go.
And the bubble's about to crash, going to pop. Is it this year, next year? I don't know when.
Yeah.
But it's going to pop eventually. I mean, because bubbles pop. Right. Not because I'm a genius and I figured this out.
Yeah, some people
bubbles pop.
say, hey, I'm telling you it's going to crash. Well, it's always going to crash.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's always
Yeah,
gonna
it's
crash.
not because I'm a genius.
That's
It's
the
because
nature of it.
it crashes, right? That's how it works. Is it this year? Is it next year? I don't know, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And when it happens, here's the worst part. When it happened the last time, the Fed had tons of time and energy to fix.
Right.
It won't this time.
It won't. Right.
Now they do. Now we go to Japan, we become perpetual stagnation. Is that where we are? Japan in the 90s? Perpetual stagnation?
Yeah.
You just never leave? Yes. So,
Well, I mean, you don't want. I mean,
Yeah.
Japan is
I was
a different
ready to
animal. Yeah, he's.
I would leave. But yes.
We'll get him back.
I got you talking too much.
That's why I'm here. So good. Yes, why I'm here.
But you know, like you talk about Japan and you talk about, do we really want to be cattle pushed into the subway, get to work, push her?
That's where we are now. Have you been in New York City?
Yeah, work in the city.
So
every
you
day.
know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's that way right now.
But we're seeing less of it though. I mean, you see, like
Because people don't have jobs.
right. There's,
That's why. Because they're not going into the city anymore. They don't have jobs.
well, you talk about businesses like WeWork and things that have changed the culture of working in
Yes.
a brick and mortar business.
Absolutely.
Which is dying to be because
Correct.
the rent's too high. So
Yep.
what you said is the exact.
But not just that. Employment's too high.
Yes. The
So
cost of it.
cost of employing
it's too
people
high.
is too high.
I mean, what I say all the time when I consult with businesses, they go, I want to hire somebody now. I say, great, the punishment begins now.
punishment. Yeah.
Because the second you hire, New York State begins to hammer you.
Yeah.
They start punching you immediately. If any of you have ever had a business and hired anybody, you know immediately what happens is that letter comes from workers' comp, you
Yeah.
owe us $40,000.
Right. Or the-
That's the letter everyone gets. Because the assumption is you're a bad guy, you owe us money.
Yeah.
And you have to fight them now. It's not innocent or guilty. It's guilty.
It's guilty.
It's guilty. You are clearly an
Let's
evil
give us
guy.
our money.
Give
Guilty,
us
and
our
if
money.
you give us money, that means you're a good guy.
That's correct. Yes. Yes. I love some coffee too. Yeah.
What is this that you get from workers'
If you have you ever hired someone? Have you ever started a business and hired anybody? If you ever do, New York State assumes that you're evil and wrong and bad immediately, and begins sending you letters saying you owe them money. Back workers' comp, you owe them this, it's assumption, and you just get it
I don't have
automatically.
workers' comp insurance for the employees?
Assumption is you didn't get it, and you're a bad guy, and you're going to jail, and you're terrible, and give us $40,000. It's always five figures. I say 40,000 as an example, but it's always five figures. 10,000, 20,000, whatever it is. If you think you have 2 or 3 employees, it's $40,000, $50,000. You don't have to go to your accountant and go, accountant, help me. If you don't have an accountant, you might think you're in trouble. Now, you're starting a new business and you think you're $40,000 in debt off the bat? you'll shut your business down.
Yeah.
You'll walk away. It's horrible.
Regular, right? Yeah, regular.
Yeah. It's horrible.
No, it is.
But I know because the accountants always go, oh, the letter. They look
you
the
got
accountants.
the letter.
Yes, the accountants
The
don't
scarlet
say
letter.
the letter. They
The
say the
scarlet
letter.
letter.
Oh yeah, the letter. Yeah, I got it. And then they go and say, no, it's not true, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that shouldn't be true.
Right.
Now, why would they do it? Because it works. Because some people begin to negotiate with them. Right? So they do, well, what I meant was, and then they go, oh, got a sucker. Perfect. Give us $5,000 and we'll shut up. It's literally a protection racket.
But you know the conception.
Hold on, am I wrong? You're sitting there quiet. You're a businessman, you know him, right? See?
It gets more interesting than that.
There we go. More interesting.
more
See?
interesting.
More interesting.
Yes.
You know, with local businesses, I can tell, like, sometimes, like, for example, when I go to a game store,
Yep.
for example, if there's GameStop over here,
Sure.
they release a game, not release date, but there's a way to get their customers just by, for example, local game stores, they do sell the games early before the release
Yes.
date,
Yes.
which does give a good boost for the customers.
Yes, you have to, and that's the one you have to realize. A lot of people in today's world don't realize something. To survive in retail,
Yeah.
you can't just have retail. That's not the way. To survive in retail, it's got to be something special.
You have to be marketable. You have to.
But it's
you're
got to
every
be
platform.
Not just that. If I want people to come to my store, right? It's got to be one of a couple things. One, it's got to be some type of event, right? Come to my store because Bob Jones is showing up, Jane Doe is showing up. It's an event, right?
Yeah,
Some kind of thing. Yeah, we get some talent showing up, right? That's something. It's an event. Two, it's an experience, right? It's like if you see the malls now. It used to be at a mall, the anchor was a big store like Nordstrom's or Sears.
Right.
Now, it's a mini amusement park.
Yeah.
It's a Dave and Buster's, right? Because that's an experience. That's now the anchor. The anchor is the experience. Bring your kids to go on the rail, or bring your kids to go to Dave and Buster's, and while you're there, buy some other stuff.
Yeah, meet Barney.
Yeah, exactly.
Barney.
Yeah, exactly. Meet Barney.
Right.
Exactly, right? Now you have people who actually bands show up, right, at malls, because you go there to see the band you like, right? It's underground band, whatever. You like that band. You've seen it before, so the band plays at the mall. So that's why you go to the mall. You go to the mall now for the experience, not for the store. So malls basically become theaters.
And they don't buy. People leave.
Well, the goal is if you show up and you're there, we got you. You'll buy something.
You'll buy something.
That's the goal, right? You'll buy something. You'll go, but then the next thing, you have to buy something that's perishable, right? So it's ice cream or something like that, coffee, yogurt, that work, beer. So you have that in the area. The next thing is something that you can't buy online easily, like haircut, nail salon. Tough to get a haircut online. Services, but many services you can get online. But not all. Depends on the service.
Well, yeah, I mean, you
Right.
can broker them online.
That's correct.
And then the guy comes out.
That's correct.
So you can broker like Angie's List. You
Correct.
can go in and say.
So some things, even that doesn't work, right? But it's got to be something like a haircut, something like that, right? A nail salon, that will work also.
Yeah.
Or one more thing, you have an amazing brand that everybody knows by the brand. For example, if you sell blue shoes, you're screwed. Because when you put in blue shoes, Amazon's gonna pop up.
Right.
But if you sell whatever, I don't know, Heinz shoes, right? A special kind of shoe that only Heinz has, right?
Right.
You put in a Heinz, they tell you to go to the store.
Right.
Right, or you go to that website.
Right.
But if people aren't typing in your name into Google,
Right.
you're finished.
Custom shoes.
Right.
It's got to be those, the ones that are your shoes.
Custom shirts.
Bingo, exactly. Custom stuff also very good. Yes.
Yeah, custom. I have a
But
custom
people
clothing
think,
brand. I mean,
people think, well, I had delicious food, so I'll be able to make money. Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe not.
it's subject
And-
to proximity and
Yep.
and
if you make
limitations.
anything that you just make, the Chinese will knock it off anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So
Right.
whatever. If you, I make the best cup in the world. Whatever. You'll make money for like 3 months. Then the Chinese will knock it off,
knock you off,
and you'll stop making money. Unless you go to China and have them make it for you off the bat, and then maybe you can keep making your money.
Well, I mean, speaking back of Amazon, I mean, I heard
Amazon does that.
I heard the Amazon
all the time.
Basic is the complete knockoff center. They're the one, and exclusive. If you want to sell with them, you must give them the right to look at your product and do it better.
It's what happens when you're monopoly, which is why I said, what if Amazon doesn't do what they say they're going to do in Long Island City? What's their punishment? Nothing.
Yeah.
You're gonna boycott Amazon? Stop.
Right.
You're not boycotting. It's like I'm gonna boycott Google. You're not boycotting Google. You're not boycotting YouTube. You're not boycotting Amazon. You're not. You're not doing it.
This is the tail wagging the dog now. We now have people such as those big companies, and we're looking to them saying, help us when we're fine, when we don't need them. I completely
mean?
agree. Well, I completely agree with what you said with support. Why not give that much energy to the local guys? Why would we put
Because
so
it's harder.
much?
That's the reason.
It's
It's
door
harder.
to door. You get one guy to do one-stop
It's
shop.
harder.
All right, I got you.
Look,
I guess. Yeah.
my wife always talks about local business. She goes out of her way to do local business. But Christmas time comes, it's Google. It's Google. She's not going to go to the mall and get killed. It's Google. What's happening?
Yeah.
I go out of my way. So you've seen my entire campaign. I was always at a local place. I never went to a franchise one time, and I'm still not. Right. I'm trying to practice what I preach. I'm going to support local businesses. That's what I'm doing, and I promote them. You see my Facebook. This guy's logo is literally on my Facebook page. Right. So I'm promoting this business as I can. Right. I'm doing it. I'm trying to do that. But even that's hard.
Yeah.
Right. People still want to go to the franchise.
Yeah.
They still go to Taco Bell or whatever is their cool, thing. They still want to go. I'm not against franchise. I'm not.
Yeah.
The problem is when you have so much regulation, the answer to small business is franchise. People don't realize that. Right? Because here's what happens. If I want to open up a diner like this, the resources I require is difficult.
Yeah.
Right? But say I want to open a McDonald's. While it will cost me more money up front, I now have the McDonald's power. I have McDonald's lobbying power. I have McDonald's everything power. Right?
Legal teams.
Legal team.
The entire.
When the bad guys want to sue.
Group advertising.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Group
advertising. You got branding. You just bought a brand.
Right.
You literally bought a brand. There's so much more value to that. So you can afford to buy a franchise. When everything becomes so bad that when you make one mistake as a small business, you go out of business, the answer is franchise.
Right.
Because even if you're a terrible franchise owner, right? And we buy the Wendy's or whatever you do, a terrible franchise owner, they dump you and they grab him.
Yeah.
He screws up, they dump you and they grab him. They don't care. The Wendy's keeps going.
Wendy's keep going. Yeah.
They don't care if you're a bad manager. Yeah, fire you next guy.
Yeah. You lose the flag. This place will be something else.
Bingo. Oh yeah, and we don't like Wendy's. It's McDonald's next week.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
It's the same thing. You just pull off the W, put an M on it, and we keep moving. So that's why it keeps working. So franchises are awesome. They're amazing. In fact, I love them particularly for people who are veterans. Veterans is a great way for veterans to make a step into entrepreneurship because there's enough of there's enough structure for the Marine or the soldier to come out of the military and still enough entrepreneurism to get them going. So I love franchises, but they're far too much compared to what they should be in a regular free market. If you pull the government out of it, there would be less franchises. If you go to some of these small towns, right, upstate New York, I remember seeing a guy tell me on my Facebook page, he's been working like 30 years to be a manager of a restaurant. That's the size he'll go. Now, if he's happy, no worries. But you can't tell me the whole town's happy doing that.
Right.
That's as far as you're going to go. Next thing, you're going to work for the government somehow. Remember, 1 in 7 Americans works for the government. Right. You're going to work for the police force. You're going to work for the sheriff's office. You're going to work for the teachers, the school district. You're going to work for sanitation. You're going to work for the government somehow, right? Next thing, you're going to work for the one big thing they have. The prison, the university, the Walmart, right? The one big thing the town has. It has one big thing. If it's lucky, it's got 2. If it's lucky, it's got 2. It's got a university and a prison. If you're lucky, it's got 2. But usually it's only got one thing, right? You don't have that, what are you going to do? Black market. You're selling drugs, you're selling something else you shouldn't be selling, right? You're black market. Yeah.
I think, the landscape's changing. You're talking about Amazon as a big behemoth, online business, but also I think New York State isn't that bad right now as far as encouraging online businesses, and that would be.
They're trying to tax online business. That's a new thing. Yeah.
More than other states, or?
No, they're trying to become the biggest one they can possibly get, right? What's the new rule they're trying to make?
Which one is it? Retail?
It's online retail, right? That's
out of state. I think they're just taxing it at the New York sales tax.
Yeah, they're just trying to add sales tax to it. Period. Yes. Yeah. But
that would be another option for people that don't want to live in a big.
I would agree. The problem is with that really is, what if you're not tech savvy?
Yeah, it really is.
Right? You have a big issue. It does. It totally does.
It leans you to one side. And
what people don't realize is technology is changing a whole lot faster than our society is, than humans are, right?
Yeah.
Remember something, if you were alive in, say, 1500, and you lived for 100 years, you were lucky and you lived for 100 years, the only thing you might miss that might have changed in your entire life was maybe like the crossbow. That's probably the only thing you had seen that was new in 100 years, right? You're like, oh, this bow went to a crossbow. That's amazing. That's the only thing you saw. And maybe a better harness on a horse. That's the kind of thing you saw. I'm exaggerating, obviously.
Musket in the can.
I might have seen, but I might not have seen a musket.
Pistol.
I might not have seen a musket.
To a pistol. Yeah,
but let's say I saw a musket go to a pistol. Okay, in 100 years I saw a musket go to a pistol, and I saw the crossbow go away. That's what I saw in my 100 years of life. Right?
1900 to 2000.
1900 to 2000?
That was amazing.
Oh my God!
Cars went from
Yeah.
Oh my
Voices to
God.
cars driving themselves.
Yes, I mean it went insane. What a massive change you saw in those years. How does humanity respond to that, right? It's hard for us to respond to that. And what happens if you have a bad thing, like say you go to jail for 5 years or 10 years,
You come out.
and you
have no
lost
idea
10 years of your life.
You have no
Now
idea
you're
what's
10
going
years
on.
behind even more. What if you go overseas and do something great, like you go help people in Southeast Asia for 5 years?
Or stay home with kids.
Or stay home with kids.
More
For
likely.
5 years.
that's
Any of those
more
things,
real,
right?
yeah.
All of a sudden now you're like, wait, we're not Windows 95 anymore. What happened? Right? So it changes everything. It's a huge. If you look back, it used to be that a generation was about 22, 23 years. Meaning that if you were raised within a 20-year window, give or take, you kind of had a similar growth, a similar background, you saw similar things. Assuming you were in the same country, obviously, right? So if you were raised, like, say, between, say, the 60s, 1960s, 1980s, and if you were raised as a kid in that area, the odds are if you were in America, you have a similar, you saw similar things, you understood similar things. There was similarity there.
Right.
Now the generation is 7 years. It's only 7 years now. So if you're raised from 1990 to 2000 versus 2000 to 2011, different generation now. Mentally, right? Socially, physically, it's the same,
The
right?
mental generation used to match the biological
That's correct.
generation.
And now it doesn't. It doesn't anymore. So like my daughters are 6 years apart, and there are certain things that I don't get. Like my youngest daughter got an iPad when she got older. My oldest one got an iPad when she got older. My youngest one grew up on iPad. Like she was 2, knowing how to work an iPad. Right, my youngest one was. My oldest one didn't. My oldest one took some time before she got it. My oldest one actually watched TV. My youngest one doesn't.
Right.
I mean, and it's 6 years. It's 6 years. The only thing that stayed is certain things that were like staples, like, believe it or not, SpongeBob. SpongeBob is a staple in my household, right? Because both of my daughters grew up on SpongeBob, right? So the question, though, is, will the next group of people growing up, will they? I don't
Have
know.
another one.
Yeah, well, yeah. in the mailroom.
Well, I'll give you another story. I had a firm that was going to hire me, and I did go up to the top, big firm in construction business. I got all the way to the top, met the CEO, shook my hand. He says, I don't know, are you going to work here, whatever. I said, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I went down, made a left instead of a right, went in the mailroom.
Yep.
It was like the scene from Men in Black. The guys were all doing the mail, had a cigarette in his mouth, and the guy said, you going to work here? And the guy gave me a big bro hug and was like, I've been here 8 years. I don't even know these guys. I don't even know anything about them. I don't even know what they do.
That was the response.
One of the largest development firms in the city. And I walked out of the place and said, I can't work here.
Yep.
I can't work here because I'm not identified here.
Let's go to the most recent thing New York City's done. New York City now has the rule on you can't discriminate someone because of their hairstyle. Heard about this one?
Yes.
This new one.
Yeah.
What a disaster that's going to be.
Yeah. It's already.
Here's what's going to happen. Guaranteed. I'm working at some firm. I think the boss is going to fire me. I'm growing dreads. I am growing dreads. The second I think the boss is going to fire me, I'm growing dreads.
Yep.
Because then what? I'm sorry. You can't. Yeah, you can't. So the second
the recent case.
I think
That's
it's
correct.
sparked because of the wrestling match.
Yeah, the one kid.
Yeah,
the one kid
where they actually cut the kid's hair.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, that's right.
I think that's what sparked the whole thing.
But that goes to the same.
Anyone the match.
But that goes to the same thing. It goes to the idea of one mistake, then you make a rule for the anomaly.
And you make a rule for everything else.
You make the rule for the anomaly. I don't want to do that. That's an anomaly. What do? You scold that guy for cutting someone's hair.
Right.
Maybe you fire him if you do what you scold,
And
whatever.
And that was his interpretation of the rules of the wrestling.
Well, whatever. You deal with that issue, right? There's an issue. Clearly, there's an issue there. You shouldn't be grabbing kids and cutting their hair, right? So clearly, there's an issue. So deal with that issue. And I make that rule. Here's what's going to happen. If you look at small businesses now, try to find small businesses that will hire people of color.
Yeah.
You can't because they're afraid once the lawsuit hits, they're finished.
Right.
Too risky.
Second?
It's too risky.
It's too risky. They won't do it. And when I tell people this, they go, that's against the law. If you're a small business, you don't care.
You don't, right.
So you use a recruiter on purpose. You tell your recruiter, don't bring any people of color. The recruiter goes, I didn't hear you, but does it anyway.
But I know the agenda. Yeah.
That's correct. I know the agenda. I know it anyway. Now, are you telling me anybody with dreads? No small business hiring anybody with dreads ever now. It's not going to happen in New York City because you're going to assume they're going to get a lawsuit. So you've just made it harder for people of color to get jobs. The goal was to be fair, and the outcome will be, now, if we're lucky, the outcome will be more people growing businesses. That's been the advantage of discrimination against black women. There has been a good thing that's happened. A lot of people, small businesses don't want to hire black women. See, where do you see many black women being hired? Government.
MTA.
Hard. Yes. Government everywhere. Hard.
Post office.
The good thing about that, while that's horrible, the one good thing is you find a whole lot of black women in small businesses now. Because they decided we're going on our own. We're doing stuff on our own. Yeah. So that has been the one positive thing. There's a huge rise in black women-owned businesses. So that's been the one good thing to this horrible discrimination. I can only hope that will happen again. That's my only hope, right? I can't change the law. I'm hoping that a backlash will be a bunch of black-owned businesses. That's my hope that will happen. I don't know if that will happen. That's my hope. You've heard me say it more than once. The answer to poor communities is ownership. It's ownership. That is the answer to poor communities. It always is. And that's whether it's a poor trailer park, poor ghetto, poor barrio. It doesn't matter where it is. Ownership is the answer. We hate gentrification because you don't own your renter.
Right.
If you own your apartment, you love gentrification. So give people in public housing a chance to own their apartments. They'd be like, gentrify away. Go ahead.
It also means you have collateral for a loan.
Yes, you do. You can start
Skin
a
in the
business.
game.
You got skin in the game. Yes, absolutely.
That's what was done in UK.
It was. And it worked way better than it was. Go ahead.
Are you saying businesses are becoming women only or colored people only?
No. I'm saying there has been an increase recently in the past 10 years or so of black women-owned business. There has been an increase. Thank you.
Okay.
And one of the reasons for this was a discrimination against black women in hiring. A lot of small businesses were afraid to hire black women. They were afraid of a lawsuit. It's risky. They were afraid of it, so they would stop doing it. So while that's horrible, and I wish that wasn't true, I'm saying the only advantage or good thing about that has been a huge increase, relatively, in black women-owned businesses. I can only hope that with this new law in New York City, that will be a backlash, that there'll be more black-owned businesses. That's my only hope. Yep.
Perjured herself in court along with a lawyer as well.
Yeah.
And nobody will say it's perjured. Nobody will say that you lied.
The worst you'll get, maybe, is contempt. That's the worst you'll get, if that. And that's still stretching. And that's usually the guy gets it, usually the woman doesn't. So you might get contempt, maybe. Here's literally what happens. All right, he's getting divorced, and he's gonna be nodding his head the whole way through. He right. His wife is like, what do I do? Her attorney says, if you lie and say he beat you, you'll get the kids.
Yeah.
Now the attorney doesn't say to do so, because that would be illegal. The attorney says is, if you say it, you might get it. Now I actually said this in a one event during the campaign. There was a family attorney in the room when I said it, and she got offended. I would never do that. I said, great, I'm glad you never do that. Are you telling me it doesn't happen? Here was her response. That was her response. This is her response. Yes, she did not say no. She said, I would have. I said, I'm glad you wouldn't do that. Are you telling me, in front of the people, are you telling me this doesn't happen? She did. Because it does happen. So what do? I lie. And I say, he was beating me up or whatever. Meanwhile, we've been married for 10 years. No one was ever scared. No report. No nothing. All of a sudden now, I'm scared to death of him all of a sudden. So what happens. Here comes the whole idea. Well, you're bad, so I can give you kids now. So I get sole custody because you're a bad guy. Clearly, you beat her up. Now, where's due process? Family code, no due process.
Right.
Not just that. Well, because he's a scary guy, we're going to put a order of protection against him. Well, we shop at the same Walmart. How would he know that I'm at the Walmart or not? He doesn't know I'm at the Walmart. I'm at the Walmart. He's at the Walmart. He brought the order of protection. I call the cops. Off the jelly goes. No, nothing, right? If it's criminal, then there has to be some due process. I got to see, is it true? Did it happen? Where's the evidence? What's going on?
Did he go on his own?
Did he go? What happened?
He went there, it was a coincidence.
What happened? Nope. Off the jail he goes. So he now goes to jail. Now, 3 months later, we find out in court I was lying. I was totally lying. He never hit me, never did anything, nothing. Right. What are my repercussions? None. I still keep the kids. He still has a record. Still in the jail. Lost his job. No change. Now, he was in jail for 3 months. He was in jail, right? So he couldn't pay child support. Right. Do you think the judge would say, oh, well, you're off for 3 months? No, you still owe that. Not just that he lost his job. So you got to pay even when you lost your job and you were in jail, and the judge put you in jail, and it's proven that you should have been in jail. Nope, pay anyway. So now he can't pay. What does the judge do? Take his driver's license. That'll teach you.
Driver's license, professional license. Yeah.
So then how are you going to go to work to pay the child support if you don't have a car because you don't have a license? Well, you're not paying that to your professional license. Well, I can't be a plumber now, so how can I make the money to get... I can't do this. So it forces so many men to do horrible things, like abandon their families, move to Florida, or worse, put a gun in their mouth. Every event that I've been to that has anything with family fathers' rights, every event, there's somebody who knows somebody who committed suicide. Every event. I bet you know somebody. Yep. What's the option?
Thousands of testimonies.
Yep.
And I've been arrested twice on false charges.
Yep.
Spent time in jail.
I wish your story was the first time I heard it. I heard it all the time. I crossed the state, I heard it dozens of times. At first, I didn't believe it. Before, I didn't. When I was like, somebody's exaggerating, right? Somebody's just mad. System. It can't be that bad. Because I've never been through this, so this is not a personal thing. Like, I don't know how it feels, right? But I've always said the same thing. Your kids haven't seen you in how many years? 8 years. My father died when I was 12. I didn't have a father when I was a teenager. And to think that it's a man who wants to be with his kids and to takes them away drives me crazy. I would have taken a broke dad over no dad any day of the week. I've taken a broke dad. Broke as hell. I'd take over no dad. No doubt. And now the state's saying you can't be there. I don't care if you're broke. Be with your kids.
Right.
And if you're a judge, you should be thinking that. If you're a judge, you should be thinking that. But you don't for several reasons. Number one, you are given accolades by how much money you collect. Because
as a judge?
Yes. Because what happens, it's a racket, right? Every time you pay child support, it goes to the state. The state takes a cut. Right? It's like a credit card company takes a cut. So it's a cut of all the money that goes through. So it's in the judge's best interest to have you pay as much as possible because then he gets see, all money. It's a racket.
Yeah, old judge is bringing in bucks.
Absolutely.
He's a top earner.
Yeah, exactly.
Top earner in the firm. Man.
Absolutely.
I never thought of it that way.
And not just that, if they take your kids, they also get paid. CPS is a racket also from the federal government. They also pay you for that too. So they want to have reasons to take your kids also.
And most family court, and to be quite honest, most family court judges don't want to be family court judges.
That's the worst part, right? And to be forward, a lot of people don't like Elliot Spitzer. Not that I'm a huge fan of Spitzer. But Spitzer was the last guy who actually wanted to fix this. He saw the problem. Right. In 2006, Spitzer wanted to fix this whole system. Then he started getting in trouble with the women, and he's gone, and no one else cared after that. No one else cared. Right. But Spitzer, I got this concept because Spitzer wanted to revamp the entire thing. He wanted to get rid of family court, make it all one big court system, so that every judge feels good being in every one. They're all treated the same way. It's everyone. Everything's perjury. Everything is equal. Whether you're criminal, doesn't matter. It's all the same. That went away, and it hasn't changed since then.
He knew the risk that he would have of being held for child support.
Exactly, yes. He was like, this could be me. Let me fix this now. Exactly, yes. So, but yeah, he wanted to fix it. Yes, but now it's just going through the system. And the worst part is, many times the judges don't even want to hear you. They've made a decision before you walk in the room.
Yeah.
So you walk into the room, and you've got all your stuff ready, and he's like, okay, this. You're like, Judge, I didn't say anything. Shut up. If you say something, I'll make it worse for you.
Especially if you have tattoos and dreadlocks.
Well, here's the worst part. What if you've already been put in jail?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel?
Right.
I show up. I just spent 2 months in prison, in jail. I'm sorry. I spent two months in jail. Do I want to talk back to this judge?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
You can't rightfully defend yourself.
You can't defend yourself.
Yeah.
Again, you're a heretic. How dare you go against the system? Your crime is heresy. Right? So, and again, you don't have to. Once you're a heretic, there's no proof required. Being charged is enough to be a heretic. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming, by the way. Thank you.
Larry?
And I'm still talking about this. Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about passing shared parenting bills, and they're passing across the states.
Yes.
What do you think the chances are of New York actually taking a bite at it?
At the moment, low. But if we keep talking about it, bigger. Because the issue is, most people still think, and I hear it all the time, people get mad at me all the time. It's one of the reasons why politicians don't take this up. When I talk about it, they say things like this: Larry, are you trying to support deadbeat dads? That's what I always get. Trying to support deadbeat dads. I'm like, no, I'm trying to keep fathers in people's lives.
Yeah.
Because you look at the prison system now, a whole bunch of men who don't have dads in their life. A whole bunch of men don't have dads in their lives.
Yeah,
a whole bunch of
creating a lot of deadbeat dads.
We're creating them. Yes, we are creating them. So I want to make that happen.
Going back to the drug war.
I would rather have, again, you're a poor dad. Great. Show up with your kid. Teach your kids something. Let your kids see what it is to be a father and a man. Show up. Be poor. Don't care you're broke. There's a lot of kids who grow up fine with poor dads. You don't have to rich dad to grow up well. Lots of kids grow up with poor dads and did fine. So that's why we don't touch it, because of that. That the stigma is you're trying to help out deadbeat dads. I just don't care about the stigma. I don't care about it. I take it. I keep going. I don't care.
What is the bill you're talking about? A joint parenting bill?
There's some bills being passed around the states and being introduced in New York State legislature that makes a presumption of equal parenting time being in the best interest of the children.
Okay.
What happens now is that the father begins like this. It begins with this. We get divorced. You're dad. You begin with 4 days a month.
Right.
That's how it starts. It should start 50-50.
Right.
It doesn't. As a father, you got to fight for that. You shouldn't have to. It should start that way, and you negotiate from.
Probably the 4 days you have to work too. It's probably the 4 days you have to be at your job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's 2 weekends a month.
Oh, okay. 2 weekends a month.
But if you work on the weekends, you're screwed.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. You work on the weekends, you're screwed. Right. So hopefully you don't work on the weekend. Change your job.
Right.
And that's, by the way, is what the judges say. Let's say, next thing that happens is a judge will say, all right, at one point in your life, you made $100,000 a year. Therefore, you must make $100,000 a year forever. Doesn't matter if your job goes away, if your company goes away, if you get fired later, I don't care. You at one point made $100,000 a year. Therefore, for the rest of your life, you must make it until your kid's 22 years old. You must do it. So 21. For 21 years, you must make that amount of money. If you were married, would you have to?
Nope.
What? No. If you were married, would you have to?
No.
So why do you do it if you're not married?
Right.
How is that legal? How is that legal that a judge can say you must make $100,000 a year for the next, whatever, your kid's 8, for the next 13 years? How's it legal? I'm not even done with that. So now you must pay the amount of money that I decided based on $100,000 a year. You get laid off. I don't care. You tell the judge, my company left New York State. I need 6 months to find a job. Get 2 jobs. That's his answer. Get 2 jobs. Okay, great. So now, judge, I'll never see my kid. Thanks. Now I'll never see my kid. Thank you, because you care more about money than my kid. Because you care more about money than my kid. Of course. That's absolutely true. So thanks, judge, for that. But I'm not even done with that. So now I got to make that kind of money. What if I make more than $100,000? They raise it. I get a great job when I make $200,000. They raise it. So you got to pay more if you make more, but then you make less? No. So they wonder why men are hiding money. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
The system is made for you to hide money. Of course you're going to hide money.
Right.
Of course you would.
You're penalized for having money.
Yes. Why would you? Well, of course you're going to hide money. Makes no sense. So we have 2 jobs now. Instead, are you crazy? Not just that, I got to pay for my kid when my kid's 18, 19, 20. Would I have to pay for that if I was married?
Right.
No.
Right. 18, you kick him out and tell him to go make your own money.
So now the family court says you must give another adult your money.
Right.
And that's legal somehow. How is that legal? Now look, the reality of it is if you have a kid who's 18 and you want to pay for the college, and you can, you probably will anyway.
Right.
Because you're a mom or a dad, and if you want to pay for your kid's college, you will.
Right.
A court shouldn't force you to do that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. But in this case, they may.
Yeah. Well, that's the boat I'm in, because I'm still my daughter's. I'm still paying child support, even though I'm still paying for college as well.
Why are you paying for college?
Yeah.
Why, how can a court?
You're not getting a credit?
Hmm?
You're not getting a credit for college and you're supposed to get a credit.
No.
See that? There we go, even worse. So how can a judge tell you must pay for your kid's college? If you are married, would you have to pay for your kid's college? Of course not. There's no requirement by law to pay for your kid's college.
Right.
Many parents do, and they do it because they love their kids and they want to.
Right.
And most parents who care do it anyway. And you probably would anyway.
Right. You could, you would.
If you
can't,
could,
so
you would
won't do
anyway,
it.
right? I
Could,
mean, you
right.
probably would if you had the money anyway, even though no judge said anything. If your daughter came in and said, "Papa needs some help for college," if you had it, you'd probably give it to her, because most parents would if you asked, right? Most would. But how can a family court judge tell you that? That's against the law. That's unethical. That's immoral, unconstitutional. It's everything wrong. It's nothing wrong, but it's family court, so whatever. Whatever.
That's what I struggle with, is that I don't have a relationship with my son, and then I'm going to be required to pay thousands and thousands of dollars to my son's education when they don't even have a relationship with me. So it's like, you struggle with that.
And here's what I know is more important, and anyone who has a brain knows. Relationship with you is far more important than college.
Right.
Far more.
My son now is a brilliant kid up until high school when all this, was happening. Now he's dropping out.
Of course he is. Yes.
All those statistics that I told the judge, this is what's going to happen.
Judge doesn't care about
Judge
that.
does not care. Does not care at all. No question, no doubt. Anyone who has a brain in their head knows relationship with dad is far more important than education. True. Far more. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against education. But if I have to pick one of the two, give me dad. Anything to do, give me dad. Absolutely. So yes, family court is completely broken. Nobody seems to care. I'm the only guy. I still talk about it all the time. People ask me to talk about it all the time. I go out, I still talk about it. I keep yapping. Because most people
what happens is that guys like us do not band together.
Correct.
Work over like the women did.
Yeah.
We don't form groups, and the groups fight amongst each other. I look on Facebook and they argue with each other. We don't come together and then go on Albany and make these politicians listen.
Yes.
Family. Let's call it family. Whatever on Facebook. They schedule like marches and 4 men show up. Because they're at work.
But there's a couple reasons why. Number one, when people go through this, they always think it's just them.
Yes.
They think they're alone.
Yeah.
They think it's only them, and it's not. But the next thing is, society doesn't believe them. I didn't until I heard the same story 7 times. And I was like, holy, then I did my research on Spitzer. I did my homework then. I had my policy team look this up, and they were like, Larry, everything they're telling you is true. I'm like, holy crap, it's all true. Everything's true. So my policy team tells me everything is true. I see it, I hear the same story 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 times from people across the state who don't know each other. It's the exact same story from people across the state who don't know each other at all. And they tell me the same story, like, this is true. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Do you want to get up and tell people what's happened to you?
Yeah.
Who wants to come and tell you, by the way, I went to jail?
Yeah.
Who wants to say that? I mean, that's hard to do. You're doing it, and I appreciate you doing it. Many people don't want to do it.
Pretty brave of you, brother.
Yeah, people don't do it.
It's good that you're being brave anyway.
That's correct. But a lot of people don't want to do it. And find a politician to do it besides me. You can't find one who'll support you. There's no one out there. And here's the worst part that bothers me. Dads didn't vote for me. Dads didn't vote for me.
Wow. Really?
Yes, Dave Rubin generated the most amount of donations. Was Dave Rubin?
Nice.
But Joe Rogan gave me the most bodies. People saw me.
Yeah.
The problem with Joe Rogan obviously was a lot of it's not New York City.
Right.
A lot of it's not New York State.
Yeah,
a lot of it's across the country.
he's got a cult following that
Across the entire country.
Across the entire country.
So I think I would have changed that. I think also I probably would have saved up enough money to either do a better ad campaign at one point to get more press, or to buy a poll if I'd realized it early enough, and I didn't realize it too late. So I probably would have done those three things differently, and I probably would have had a better team when it came, an even better team when it came to social media.
Yeah.
My social media team was amazing. It could have been even better.
Yeah.
But we learned most of that too late. By the time we learned what was going well,
That's why I say
it was too late.
dry run is over.
It was a dry run. It was.
When
Yes.
I managed Chris Garber's campaign, I said, rehearsal's over.
Yes.
Start the real thing now.
Yes, exactly. So I think I learned a lot in the campaign. I did. But the point I guess I'm bringing up is, throughout the entire campaign, I always did what I thought was correct, obviously. At the end of the campaign, the last, say, 2 months or so, I started realizing how bad it was.
Well, you went through 3 campaign managers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this is a record.
Is it? There we go. Yes.
Not a good record.
Yes, not a good record. But again, the party has a lack of talent. And the other problem is a lack of cash to pay the right guy. Could I have gotten a better one? If I could have paid $100,000 for a manager, $200,000 for a manager, I could have got one. Didn't have the money. There's no way I could have got someone who was good enough. I couldn't have done it. An experienced person, I think people weren't experienced. And people are willing to. Look, here's what I'm telling somebody. Hey, you, do me a favor. Run my campaign for almost no money. Suck up your entire life. Have your personal life be sucked up by me completely. Deal with nothing but problems and issues and concerns. Deal with people who don't know what they're doing. Fix this stuff. And by the way, no time with your family, and your business is going to struggle, if not just quit your job. That's not easy to find, right? That's not easy to find. Now, if I could say, here's $200,000, I can find somebody. Someone said, yeah, fine. 200 grand, I'll do it. But for 20 grand? For a year and a half of work, 20 grand? You doing that? No. Hard to find. My final campaign manager was someone who literally said, I'm quitting my job. She took a leave of absence. Leave of absence. That was the only way of doing it. So I think your point's a valid one. I still have the cash. It all falls down to me. People are saying, Larry, will you run in 2022? Will you run? If I could start the campaign with $2 million, I would. Because I started with $10,000 of my own money, and I raised $500,000. I wrote my own self a check for $10,000, and I raised $500,000. If I start with $2 million, I'll raise $10, $20 million. I could win the damn thing. It's possible to win. At least come in second, at least. I start with $10,000 of my own money again, not doing it. Why? So I can come in third again? I'll pass. And let me make the third part real fast. For those who supported me, I'm going to tell you the story so you feel better. I'm not going to change anything. This is for a warm, fuzzy feeling only. We actually got a whole lot more than 100,000 votes. A whole lot more. We actually did. The reality of it is, a couple things happened. Number one, the ballot that was set up, I was the only one on the second row. Some machines couldn't read the vote. Not just as some people couldn't find my name. Not just that, I was on the same line as Stephanie Miner.
Yes.
People checked both, thinking she was my running mate. Those are voted votes. There were over 150,000 voted votes this year, more than ever. So there's a bunch of votes that were mine. I don't know how many there were. The odds are we probably got about 300,000 votes. Am I going to sue? Of course not. I lost by 2 million. So it doesn't really matter. However many extra were there, I didn't still win.
It would have put you above Howie Hawkins.
It would have. In reality, as I'm saying, I actually came in third. I know I actually came in third.
Then that would actually be something of value to have it on line 5 instead of line 6.
Well, actually, if I get what I would want, I'd be on line 3.
You think that you would be more than the conservatives?
No doubt. They only got 200,000 votes.
That would actually be valuable.
Maybe we should sue. I don't know. It's a lot of time, money, and energy. Who's going to give me the money for it? Who's going to do it? I don't know.
We'll talk.
I don't know. We'll talk, maybe. But anyway, my point is, I want you guys to realize that we did a whole lot better. And we saw the ballot, how bad it was, and we told them to reprint it, and they wouldn't do it. They literally wouldn't do it. And they had to reprint anyway because Cynthia Nixon got kicked off the line. So they had to reprint anyway. And they still said no. Nope. They purposely did that and screwed us over.
Well,
that was purposely
Howie
done.
Hawkins had to come before you because he was in an official party, so they come before an independent like
Yeah, but they could have just made the font smaller and made 9 rows.
Yeah.
I mean, 9 rows. They just made the font. I don't care what order I was in. I shouldn't have been the only one on the other line, which people couldn't see, and I shouldn't have been the only one with 2 people on the line. I was the only one. So make 9 rows. I don't mind, whatever. So I don't mind him being ahead. So what? That wouldn't matter. Just be able to find it. So I say that only because I wanted you guys to feel better. It's a warm, fuzzy feeling. You had a question or comment?
Yeah. You really want this governor spot, right, in New York?
you think you can find a way in somehow to get more publicity if you had to support upstate and like Western New York? Maybe if you ran like a representative?
No.
No.
There's several reasons why I'm not doing this. Several reasons. One of them is a personal reason, and that is I took a year and a half off without working. Can you imagine not having a salary for a year and a half? You can imagine what my finances are now. You really want me not to take another year and a half off? So I can gain some notoriety? Then I'll lose my entire family. No, thank you. I'll pass. So the personal reason, no, I'm not doing it. But it's something else. I said this movement was about more than me. I wasn't joking. This can't be the Larry Sharpe show. Right? It can't be, let's have Larry run for everything. That's not going to work. I've got to be the guy who's supporting others, so others will run. We have to have lots of people running, doing good things. It shouldn't just be, let's just wait for Larry Sharpe 4 years from now. That's the Green Party, waiting for Howie Hawkins. It's the wrong answer. If you see what I'm doing, if you've been following me, I've been supporting other candidates.
Right.
You see me doing it, right? I'm out there talking about them, helping them raise money. I'm supporting other candidates because I don't want this to be the Larry Sharpe show. That's not the right answer. The answer is it's a movement where lots of people do lots of cool things, right? And I'm one of... Our movement has been very bad in many ways. And one of the ways is we don't support each other well. We don't have a culture of supporting each other. The culture is one guy runs and then goes away and never comes back again or waits 4 more years and comes back and no one supports anybody. That's our culture. I want the culture to be, I ran. People know who I am. Let me help others. And then when someone, you run, and you help him. And then he runs, he helps her. And she runs and helps him. And then we all help each other. The Democrats do it, Republicans do it. I'm trying to be the change that I want to be, right? I'm going to be the change that I want to happen. So I'm doing it. That's why I'm doing these things.
The Larry Sharpe show can be how to make an effective presentation.
Sure.
Here's campaign school.
Sure. I love it. Absolutely. 100%. Happy doing that. But I don't have to run. So I'd rather not run. I'd rather encourage others to run. Did I answer your question at least?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm even considering Valley Stream as an election, like local elections, and I'm looking at some of the stuff. And I'd love to see like more people just get out in like these local villages.
Absolutely.
Counties, just like
Florida has done a very good job. Florida actually has.
You don't need that much money to campaign in a single village.
But you will, because the second we start showing up, they'll start showing up. It happened. Right? This already happened in Florida. In Florida has the most number of libertarians, I think, or had at least the most number of libertarians elected in any state. They did exactly that. Right? I think it was last year they had this. They literally went to these places, the small places, where many of them were nonpartisan races, with no one else running, right? And they would jump on board and win an election seat. Yay, they want to see it. Great. But what happened? The two parties figured this out and said, oh, we can't have that happen anymore. And they started putting people up and putting money into it. So it might happen today in Valley Stream. That may not happen next week or next month or next year. Once they figure out what's happening, the two major parties will begin to put money into it. They're not going to let us just take over.
You could do like turn it into like a war of attrition. Just have, but then again, we're turning it into a 3-party.
I agree, but here's the issue to remember. It's what I brought up earlier. We have a severe lack of talent in our party. Our party's small. We're a small party. We fight amongst ourselves like there's no tomorrow. We fight like there's no tomorrow amongst ourselves all the time. We shoot ourselves in the foot constantly. The amount of times my team shot me in the foot, oh my God, every week. Someone shot me in the foot. Paul, you were there, half of them. You saw it. They shot me in the foot all the time, constantly, saying something bad, doing something bad, crushing stuff. I had to bounce back from stuff. My entire campaign was just dealing with failure. That's all it was. To get someone to do that, to be able to push through that, it's hard. Yeah. Most people quit. You find so many people that begin to quit. Last piece I'll bring up on that same idea. Remember at the end of the campaign, about a month or so out of the campaign, is when I realized the ball game was over. In fact, Paul was in the call and I'm saying, are we fooling ourselves? Oh, I thought the ball game was over. It's not, we're done, right? It's when the debate came out on 880. Those two guys debated, and no one's following my debate. I'm like, I'm in trouble now. Is third place even possible now? At that point, I'm like, can I even get third place now? Then the last poll came out, and those of you who are paying attention, this is reality. Internal polling had me at between 8 and 11%, depending upon 6 and 11%, depending upon what time of it was going on, and that was Republicans, Democrats both had that internally. It wouldn't release it obviously, between 6 and 11%. Democrats saw that and said, we don't care, we'll win anyway, and forgot about it, ignored me, and moved on. And it's a smart move for them. Republicans saw that and said, that's a problem. Can't have that. So they tried to get me. If you remember, all of a sudden, when that polling came out, and I was still growing, they saw me growing. All of a sudden, I became a Cuomo plant. Remember that? I became the guy who only cares about libertarians, nothing else. I became that guy. I became the fraudster, the huckster. I became that guy all of a sudden. That was the new stuff. The problem was that wasn't working well enough. Meaning it was working, but while it was getting some Republicans to be turned off, it was the other Republicans who didn't know who I was to look into me. So while it was working, it wasn't working enough, right? They were like, okay, still a problem. Then the last poll came out. That poll was the end of me. That was a poll, if you remember, it was a poll that said Molinaro closing the gap. That was a blatantly bogus poll. It was paid for by Republican PAC. Republican PAC paid for it. And it's done like this. Okay, they call you up. Do you want Mark Molinaro, Cuomo, or do you want Howie Hawkins? That's it. Well, I want Larry Sharpe. That's not part of it. Sorry. What do you want? One of those three. I want Larry Sharpe.
Not on the menu.
Yeah, not on the menu. I want Larry Sharpe. Then no. Then it doesn't count. Next guy. Molinaro, Cuomo, or Larry Sharpe. Next one. Cuomo, Molinaro, or Stevie Minor, or nobody, or anybody. So I was only listed 1 in 5. So even if I got every single time, the max I get is 20%. If I got every single time, now clearly I wasn't getting every single time, but even if I did, max I get is 20%. Max, right? What happens? The protest vote shifts towards the Republican. By default, Republican gets a bigger chunk. And if you note those polls, it will say the third parties shared 10%. That's what that means. Because they weren't in every question. They shared the question, therefore they shared the percentage. Does it make sense?
Makes a lot
That's
of
how
sense.
they do it. Shared. That's how they do it. And then sometimes you know they all got the same amount. They just divided it by 3. They got 5% each. Because 15% total divided by 3. They share. That's how they do that.
Boy, that's crappy.
It is. But what does that mean? Once that poll came out, I knew I was finished. Because at that point, the Democrats who liked me were like, yeah, but Molinaro might win. I got to vote for Cuomo. I can't Molinaro win. And the Republicans who liked me were like, oh, my guy could win? I vote for my guy. Every event I go to, someone goes, yeah, someone told me that, Larry. They were afraid. They were afraid that I got to vote for Molinaro. I can't do it. Everyone I went to, someone said that. That was the end. And at that point, I use this analogy often. It's like if you play football, right? It's the fourth quarter. There's 45 seconds left. You're down by 8 points. You're going on the field. You throw that long bomb.
Hail Mary.
You throw the Hail Mary. They catch it, intercept it, run it back for touchdown. Now you're down by 15 points. 30 seconds left. You're not going to win this thing. Do you want to go back out? Most people don't want to.
No.
And you find most third parties, when they see it's over, they just peter out completely.
Yeah.
They totally peter out.
They tap out.
I was like, no, I'm going back out in the field again. I'm throwing that long bomb again. I don't care. I'm going for it again. And you saw me. I was literally doing Go Live 3 hours on Election Day saying, vote for me.
Right.
Vote for me.
Yeah.
I said I was going to sprint to the finish, and I wasn't done. That's why I'm still here today. I'm not done. I'm trying to be the change that I want to see. I want people to keep going. Don't stop. This is a movement. We only have 3 choices. Suffer, leave New York State, or try to change it. I picked try to change it. That's our options. It's only 3. I picked try to change it. A lot of people are leaving, and I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at them for it. We've set up a bad system so they leave. I get it. But I'm trying to change. So did I at least answer your question?
Yeah.
Good.
I had one more. Just hammering it today. We don't have enough talent.
Yep.
Well, there's people that are interested. We're all here interested. How do we get out there? But some kind of training. If public speaking is hard.
It
Pretty
is.
good at it.
It is.
I'm not.
It is hard.
I'd love to get out there.
Yeah, well, there's several things. Remember
How do we
something.
do that?
I actually don't want a whole bunch of people running for office. A lot of people want it. They think it's a good idea. Get a lot of people out there running. I don't think it's a good idea. I think we need better teams. And people who aren't good at speaking or being out in front of people, don't. Help someone else who can. Help someone who can. We need people who can set up events. People who can do social media. People who can talk to the press. People who can organize things. People who can show up at events and sell T-shirts. We need all those things. So if you're not good at that, don't do it. There's something you're good at, right? Find something you're good at. You're good at policy people, right? We need policy people who can sit back and I was very lucky in that. Since the Libertarian Party is so small, I was able to get some of the best policy people in our entire movement that would show up on my team. And literally guys who I would say, what about this law? And while we're on the Zoom call, dig into the law right then and there. Start reading it, boom, 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 and give me details, what's going on. Give me reports on how stuff works. So I'd know what I was talking about. There are people who love that stuff. Why wouldn't you grab them? Right? So I would rather you do what you're good at and help someone else do the right thing. Teams are everything. I don't want 14 people running and they don't have any teams and we just paper candidates. It's a waste of time. I'd rather have 1 person, 2 people running with 2 7-person teams. Way better. I'd rather have people not running in certain areas, which some people disagree with me. You have nothing to offer them, right? But imagine if you were a libertarian Democrat or Republican, and you said, wait a minute, if I join the Libertarian Party, I'll get ballot access, and I have a team, I'm in. And Larry Sharpe will come raise money for me? I'm in.
Yeah.
I want to give them the point to where you have people who can raise money, people who can talk to the press, people who know how to, policy people who know how to get together and talk about policy, right? I didn't know what the father's rights. I had no idea. My policy team got dug deep and found out everything people were saying is true. I didn't dig deep in that. I didn't have time. I was not doing this. How could I have time to do that? I couldn't. They did it for me. Digested it for me, showed me. Here's what's going on. And you saw that my policy page, the LarrySharpe.com policy page, I wish that was all me. I wish it was all me. I wish I was that savvy and smart that I figured it all out. Right? That's my policy team figuring things out. Give me all the details, and then me coming up with my thought process. Right? Don't get me wrong. It's my thought process, but details are all theirs. The white paper's all theirs. There's white papers on every single one. Details, they did it all. So if I were you, I wouldn't worry about being the guy out front. I'd worry about being the guy who can do whatever you can do best. And the more you do that, the more people will come to us. Talented people will come to us if we give them a reason to come to us. That's how it works. A lot of people, in this state, they don't like their party. But they think there's no other option. And now that we have ballot access, we give people an option. You can be on the ballot, right? And for public advocate, we have people who are talking to me now about wanting to skip and get a line. Why? If you run in the Democratic primary in New York City, you're not going to be on the ballot in November. You're going to lose in the primary, and you're finished. If you're a Libertarian, you'll be on the ballot in November. You're probably not going to win, but you will be in the ballot in November. Now the question is, do you want to be in the ballot in November or not? If you do, we're a good line for you. So now people are starting to come to us. But they're only going to come to us two things. One, if we're open enough to talk to them, and sometimes we're not. Right? Because too many of us, and if you've been in the liberty movement for a while, if you haven't, if you've been in the movement for a while, there are a lot of people who say, if you're not the right kind of libertarian, I don't want you in our party.
It's like no compromise.
No compromise. You gotta be my libertarian or I don't want you. And my point is, if we're gonna grow the party, people are gonna come into our party not because they're libertarians. They're gonna come in because they're unhappy with their party. That's why they come here. So our goal has to be, let's show them it's really a good party to be in. Let's teach them that it makes sense. Let's show that ideology is real ideology. How would they know? So that's one of our problems too. People getting mad because he's not libertarian enough. Because the guy still likes NASA and we want to trash NASA or whatever, that kind of thing. And who cares?
Right.
We're talking local government anyway. What do you care if someone likes NASA anyway? I don't care. Move on. If you want to make government smaller in your local area, you do? Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's find some right answers. Good things happen. So that's my answer. I don't know, it was long-winded, but I hope it made sense at least.
Remotely disappointed with
Good. Excellent. Thank you. Good.
Right?
We need them. And we're going to poach them. But we can't poach them if the environment is hostile. Right? We got to have a good positive environment in the country. Absolutely.
Like, I've been working in the project of my own comic series. But,
oh, is that right? You didn't tell me that.
I didn't tell you that because I've been holding up a secret. You know
okay. Well, now it's out. You blew it now, man. It's out now.
Yeah, so these days right now I'm working on, the hero series, but possibly maybe I might make a one-shot comic about, how people can join the third party instead of the second.
I like this guy. Let's do that. Yes, comics are great. Then we'll make it an AMC series then. After that, like Walking Dead. We'll start there, comic, then we'll make it The Walking Dead. I love it. Yes, I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Awesome.
It's all good.
So far I have to focus on the hero series first, and
do what you gotta do. If it works, it works.
Yep.
Thank you for coming again, by the way. So, any question down there? I'm sorry. Paul, you haven't said anything. You all right? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, good. You just said, yes, you haven't said anything. So, I guess the thing I want to bring up now, if I could, is the future. What I want us to be doing here as a movement. Many of you are former or still Democrats, Republicans, or Independents, whatever the case may be. If you can join the Libertarian Party, I would like you to. Please re-register and register as Libertarian if you feel it's appropriate. I do get why some of you won't want to. You'll want to stay in your primaries and want to vote Democrat or vote Republican in your primaries. I get it. If you do, I understand. But if you can vote, if you can turn yourself Libertarian, we need it. We want to make sure that we never lose ballot access ever again. So having enough Libertarians registered matters. We want to make sure that we have enough Libertarians in every county, every judicial district, so that we can stop from being taken over. I don't want this party to become Democrat light or Republican light. And that is a fear. Particularly Republican light. Right? For those of you who don't know much about the movement, this is what often happens. The Libertarian Party is the only party that says, I don't care if you're conservative, I don't care if you're liberal. Just don't force your views on others. Right? Be who you want to be. It's okay to be super conservative, it's okay to be super liberal. Just don't ask government to force your views on others, and we're good. That's all that matters. Which means in redder states like Oklahoma, many libertarians lean left because the left is persecuted in Oklahoma, so they go to a party that will not persecute them, which is libertarians. In blue states, libertarians tend to lean right because in New York State, blue state, the right is persecuted, so the right tends to come to us. So you'll find that we lean one way or the other depending upon the state, but in reality, it doesn't matter what you lean. The question is, do you just want to be left alone? Do you just want to be left alone? You want to be left alone? Here we are. We're here. Do you want to not force people to do stuff? We're here. And people say, but Larry, I don't like certain ways that people do certain things. No worries. You have freedom of speech. You can tell anybody you want, I think what you're doing is wrong. I think it's bad. I can try to convince you, don't do this thing. I think you should do it that way. The only thing I can't do is pass a law forcing you to not do what I don't want you to do. That right there is the line. I can have any opinion I want. I can think you're wrong. I can judge you any way I want to judge you. You can do that. You can discriminate. I don't like this guy who does this thing.
Yeah.
I just can't pass a law to stop him. I can't put him in jail because of it, and I can't use force or violence. If you think that's okay, you can be part of us. Yes.
Isn't that what people want to do, though?
No, I wish it were true.
Don't they pass laws to control behavior?
That's correct. Yes, and we're trying to not do that. People on the left and the right will act like they're super special. They're not. They simply want to impose their will upon you. Right? I think my will is better than his will, so I'll impose my will upon you. He thinks his will is better, he'll impose his will. You hear me say it. Elections have consequences. They proudly say that. Because we voted, that makes it okay. So we all vote that you got to give me that. So you got to give me that GoPro. Sorry, we voted. Sorry, we got to give it to you. Right? And that makes it okay. No, it's your property.
Right.
You shouldn't give that to me unless you decide I want to give it away. That's it.
Right.
So if you believe that, you can be part of us. And I want you to be part of us. But this is why we fight. We fight because we actually have an ideology. The other parties don't. They have a monarch. Right?
Yeah.
They have a monarch. And whatever the monarch says is what the party is. Look at right now Trump's president, right? Look back and look at a Reagan Republican versus a Bush Republican versus a Trump Republican. Totally different. If you go back Democrat, totally different. And look at Democrats, right? Look at a Carter Democrat versus a Clinton Democrat versus an Obama Democrat. Different. Different Democrats. Different Democrats. Why? Because if you're in a tribe, the warlord tells you what was right and wrong. Period. So when Reagan talked, that's what republicanism was. When Bush talked, that was what republicanism was. When Trump talks, that's what republicanism is. But I can call myself warlord of libertarians all day long. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. No, not going to work. I can say it if I want to. I'm going to get laughed out of the party. Right? Because we have an ideology. That's why we fight. There's something to fight over.
Yeah, it's worth fighting.
That's correct. But if you're a Republican Democrat, what Bernie says is correct. Why? Because Bernie said it. What Trump says is correct. Why? Because Trump said it. I can say whatever I want. People say I'm full of it. Doesn't matter. But that's a good thing. I'm not unhappy about that. It's a good thing. So if you could, I'd love you to join. If you can't join, no worries. You can still show up places like this. Showing up here matters. I say it all the time. Showing up matters. It lets people know we're not alone. People learn things they didn't know. People see how diverse we are as a group, as age, gender, ethnic background. They see who we are. We are more diverse than ever. In fact, this is a true story. If you go to state and county, they did a report on diversity of all the gubernatorial candidate campaigns. Mine was by far the most diverse. By far, wasn't even close. They did a list, and here's the best part: I don't have affirmative action.
Right.
I simply picked the people who I thought were the best in my team. And we were by far the most diverse. And again, it's written down already. Did all the breakdown. By far, we were the most diverse. Why? Because I don't decide. Well, I don't like you, or if you want to be free, you're in.
Yeah.
You're in. Just do it. And that's what I want you guys to think about. The last thing is, if you can support somebody, please support somebody. If someone's running in your area, in your county, in your state, whatever, if you can support them, please support them any way you can. You might say, Larry, I don't have much money. No worries. You got time to be online? We need Twitter hounds.
Yeah.
We need Facebook warriors. We need people who can shoot video.
Yeah.
We need people who can show up and do events. We need people who can sell T-shirts. We need people who do all those things, right? We need those things. They're all important. And showing up matters. If I'm here by myself, people think Larry Sharpe doesn't do anything. I'm here with 10 people, Larry Sharpe still plays. I can be saying anything.
Yeah.
So show up. It does matter. It's an important piece. So, and donate to me if you can. LarrySharpe.com. Much money as you can give me, I need it too. I'm still doing this stuff too. So buy my T-shirts. They're all online. Enjoy.
As soon as I, get my comic series done and such, possibly I am gonna think about like later on in the future if I have connections with the radio show.
Oh, nice! I like that.
And the only thing is like possibly one day if my friend is in charge of the radio show, maybe you want to put me in the radio show, I'll also invite you in.
I love that. Yes. We need media. Yes, we need media. And by the way, you see me often. People ask me. I do podcasts all the time.
There you go.
Why do podcasts? Podcasts is the future. It's the future media without question, but not just that. Podcasts are niche.
Yeah.
And if you listen to a podcast, you care about that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't listen to it. There's how many thousands of podcasts you can listen to, right?
We're one.
If you pick the one, I like this one podcast, and I'm on it, you can listen to me. So I do all kind of podcasts. But now I got to do these.
Now you got to do Two Bros Podcast.
Two Bros Podcast.
There you go.
Got to do Two Bros Podcast.
Love it.
Yes, absolutely. That one. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. But you got to get me a medium.
Yeah, we'll get you medium. No, that was extra large.
Oh,
We just had that one in the car.
I'm thin. Did you see what I ate?
We'll get you medium.
I eat. Some of you guys might know. You know I'm on keto, right?
I can tell by what you ate.
Yes. I've been on keto 8 years.
8 years.
Yes. 8 years.
Nice.
Did I tell you?
Okay.
I didn't tell you the story.
I heard it when you spoke of it.
Literally, my youngest daughter almost passed away. She almost died when she was a baby. She was 18 days old and she had open heart surgery.
Okay.
At that same time, my wife, of course, as any mom would do, packed up and moved into the hospital. So I had become a single dad overnight. I had a 6-year-old at the time. So I'm now all of a sudden I'm a single dad. So, how you doing? So all of a sudden I'm a single dad overnight.
Okay, I'll come say hi.
And at the same time I'm a single dad, my business is collapsing from the crash. So I'm firing my employees, shutting down my office, my business is completely collapsing. On top of that, my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer the same week.
Wow.
All hit at the same time. It was just devastating for me. So while I'm devastated, I don't drink, I don't have any other vice like that. So what was my advice was food. So I was just eating my emotions.
Yeah.
And because I didn't want people to know that I was collapsing, I was still trying to build my business, I isolated myself. So I'm eating an entire pizza and a 2-liter of Coke for lunch. And there's no one around me to go, dude, that's bad. You shouldn't do that. That's a bad thing. There was no one to tell me that because I was isolating myself. So I'm packing in pounds, and I'm in denial. I'm like everyone does that, right? Doesn't everybody eat a full pizza for lunch? And everyone does, right? Of course they do. Everyone does that. It's normal. Everyone does that. I just completely in denial. All of a sudden, it's 2 months later. I put on like 25 pounds. I can't fit into my suits to go back to work. Now, literally, if you put on 25 pounds in 2 months, you would notice.
Yeah.
I was in such denial, I didn't even notice. Like, I didn't even get that I was putting on. Somehow I fooled myself into thinking it's normal that my pants shrink for no reason.
It's a season.
It's a season. I must have washed them too much. Somehow I decided to fool myself into believing that.
It's allergies.
So all of a sudden I finally get it. It slaps me in the face. I can't go off and make money. What am I going to do? I decided I have to lose weight. Well, I could become a gym rat, but that needs you got to have a good schedule for that. I didn't have that. So I said, you know what? No carb, low carb. Stop eating carbs. I dropped 40 pounds in 2 months, and then put it back on. My highest I was 230. Now I hover around 190.
Wow.
Just hover around it. I've been there for years. So I sometimes eat carbs. Sometimes it's rare. It's rare that I eat carbs.
A lot of talk about the sustainability of the keto diet, etc. So
everyone tells me my heart's gonna pop. They all tell me, I hear all the time, your heart's gonna pop.
Right.
Been 8 years.
Okay.
So far, it hasn't popped. It might. It might. It's possible it might pop, but it hasn't so far, and I'm okay with it.
Right.
So.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
So.
Good.
For me, the diets are different. Like for me, I tried to be vegetarian for a while, but what happened is I keep getting anemia a lot because I keep pulling my sleep.
Oh yeah. Well, the issue is keto's not right for everybody. I mean, different bodies, different, right?
Yeah.
Different people, different stuff. It's not right for everybody. Here's what I say: it's right for me. That I tell you.
Right.
For me, it works, but it's not right for everybody.
I keep pulling sleep. My skin color changes.
Oh yeah. I know. If you change your diet fast, it can mess you up too.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so I yapped away. Any other questions or comments? Thanks, guys.
It's great.
Thanks for
It's
coming.
great.
Yes, thanks for coming. I appreciate
Larry
it.
around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.